All right, we're back here. We're about to jump into our third map of the night. We've got Selfless and we've got Liquid. Let's quickly take a look now at the rosters. We're going to start off, I believe, with the Selfless roster. Slimmy, Caboose, CJ, Nifty, and DSR. Who sticks out most to you here?
Oh, Slimmy as the veteran sticks out, but also CJ, the new kid on the block, really. The rank S king, if you want to put it that way. It's going to be interesting to see how he fares in a pro team, and how he's going to be, how he's going to deal with actually just having a guy control him.
Be CJ, the rank S king.
The rank A, exactly.
Nice, I see what you did there. It's not bad. Let's take a look now at the Liquid lineup. No strangers here. Nitro, Elige, Stanislaw, JDM, and Pimp. And when these guys are firing on all cylinders, this should be a breeze of a matchup for them. Yeah,
it really should be. And now they've got Pimp back in the lineup as well. He's coming back from Europe, so full fire lineup. They've had a couple of weeks to practice with Stanislaw if we've gotten the correct info. So expecting big things out of Liquid.
Okay, we're going to see two maps tonight, two best of ones. We've got Cash, we've got Cobble. We're going to kick it off with Cash. Give me a quick thought here on Cash.
Cash, good map for Liquid. I think they're just way better than Selfless, so I'm giving that to Liquid.
There's always a chance. Standing by to deliver us some of that goodness on Cash is going to be Eric de Beer Stromberg. Run us through Liquid's Cash, Eric.
Thanks, guys. Here we're going to take a look on Team Liquid versus Complexity on Cash. As we're going to take a look as we see JDM64. He's going to play an aggressive angle towards the squeaky door. He's going to open the door. He's waiting for the flash. A lot of teams like the flash peek, but he's waiting for it, anticipating it. He elbow peeks, sees Desi, kills him, closes the door, and he repositions himself to fall back. Now, this is one of the strengths of Team Liquid, especially in their CT side. They mix it up. You have Elige playing 8 different spots in this map. You see him top of Cowok, top of red, whatever. Same thing with JDM. He's peeking squeaky door. He's peeking A main. He's playing passive. He's peeking middle. He's pushing B. They're a very aggressive CT-sided team when they choose to be. They mix it up a lot, so it's a very hard team to read. As you see, now JDM is focusing more on the middle area. That's what's so nice about that quad spot, that he could shift from A main to mid with ease. As you can see, Team Liquid will keep 2 people in A, and for the execute, JDM flashes. He's going to repeat, easy kill, 2 kills off the bat with no effort pretty much. We got Nitro the off angle and Elige with 2 easy headshots from the truck area. They make it look too easy. And it's one of the reasons why Team Liquid is going to be one of the better teams in this Pro League. Back to you, Stunna.
Thank you, Eric. All right, before we jump right in this thing, give me 2 of your players to watch from either side of the fence.
All right, so for Selfless, I'm going to have to go with CJ because he's the new guy on the block. He's going to have to prove himself, see if he's worthy of playing in the Pro League. And on Liquid side, I'm going to side with Elige because he has been the powerhouse, really, within Liquid to kind of drive them forward.
Okay, well, to see if Slimmy and CJ can bring the ruckus against this Team Liquid, it's going to be Blue and it's going to be Days. Take it away, guys.
All right, yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting prepped to jump into this first match. Players are standing by and ready to roll. We had one set on a different map, but now we're back to the old standard Cash and Cobblestone again. Just no escaping that, unfortunately.
Without Dust 2, right? That's the only,
well, that one's out. You
like
can't even pick that one anymore.
I know. Without Dust 2, it's like,
yeah,
we used to see that all the time last season, too.
That's true.
Now, just these 2 maps.
All right. Well, the teams are ready to roll, guys. It's going to be Selfless starting on the CT side, and I believe this will actually be CJ's Pro League debut. He's been hanging out in Premier, I think, for like 2 or 3 seasons now, but finally jumping up to the Pro League, and we'll see how he fares on the Selfless roster here now. Looking at how things are going to fare off in the pistol round, we actually have Team Liquid pretty much just lining up into the default here, but look at the aggression from Selfless. Nifty pushing himself forward. They're already going to try for a counter boost on pistol round, waiting.
That's not very common. You usually don't play for this too much on the pistol round, so this might catch them off guard.
We can see them on top, too. They also got aggressive in A main, so this could really screw them over here initially if they can find these kills. It's been Nifty that picked up one. Unfortunately, back in A main, they did trade out another one, but Nifty's still going at it. He gets a second one before finally going down, and DSR tries to push his way inside a Squeaky, too. So they try to play hyper-aggressively out from A here. JDM, though, punished that Squeaky player before he could get anything done, but at the end of the day, it's left you with 3v2. Certainly not impossible for Selfless to pull off here, especially if they can take out one of these guys trying to push in from A main. It's Nitro back up here by the forklift, and Caboose is a perfect angle to execute. He's going to continue to push forward, but he's put down by JDM now, and he also realizes the position from Slemmy, the last man alive here for Selfless. But regardless, Slemmy pushing himself forward. JDM decides to pull back, will not challenge it for right now. Let them get a little bit closer to where they can safely peek this back out, and they both pushing to the left side of the big red box there will be able to execute him, giving Team Liquid the pistol.
Yeah, questionable decision-making by DSR to push door there after his teammates see them at middle. I think he might have thought nobody was door and he can go and get in a safe position and kill them while they're coming out of A main. But a lot of different kills coming down there that were like, you know, big swing kills. I think that door kill was very, very important though. Really allowing Liquid to get in that site with 3 players alive and playing a post plant.
So as we take a look at Selfless now across the map again, investment pretty minimal here for a second round P250s and Deagle upgrades, although Nifty finding himself a nice first one here against Elige, trying to peek his way out through the garage. Unfortunately finds himself a nice death early on in the round here. Won't be able to recover the dropped guns or anything though, as it's very far back. And they actually are going to be pretty smart about that to prevent someone like Nifty from pushing back up here when they do go for their execute in A, from being able to push in and grab that. They just toss it back over there on top of the red box in garage. So for right now, that gun is going to be dead in the water unless Selfless really want to try to boost up or something like that to grab it, which you probably won't see. Across the map, though, again, Selfless still set up pretty evenly as they have gotten really no intel about where the push is going to be coming from. The boost up from Caboose, though, nets him now another kill for his team, dropping down on the Stanislaw there. They spot the push in through A main, and now it's been held up a little bit. Another player being able to assist back in this site, and they did try to boost it up again. This time it's on top of the box, though, so he's a little bit more control over the situation as Caboose is playing into it here. The rest of the team rotating back over slowly. They still have left one more. I believe it's going to be CJ inside of the B-bomb site, but Nifty knocking off another one out. His second on the round and their third Deagle kill overall. Finally, one trade does come back out at the hands of Nitro here, but still, smoke covering the cross. They don't know how many CTs are going to be hiding up behind that red box when they finally do go for the push on it. One of the smoke fades away. Nifty finding another kill now. He's up to 3. Pimp trading out one more on the Slemmy, but Pimp's also at 7 HP, and DSR is hopping around there for some reason. So Pimp's going to push himself forward, focus on getting this bomb on the ground at the very least. He'll succeed, but now he's kind of dug his own grave. Finding one, though, but then being traded out a second later by CJ allows for Selfless to eco upset and go 1-1 at the start of the match.
Yeah, just D kills everywhere. Nifty killing 3 people from the truck, and I think all 3 kills were through smoke. I think he was just spamming the white truck continually that entire time. I don't think he saw any of those kills. He was just spamming the smoke and gets 2 more. Caboose with the nice 1 dig as well. That's a very common Deagle spot that you usually see on this map. Second round, very quick reactions though.
Yeah, Nifty again being able to spot those kills from the backside. We caught them on the replay there. He got the first one too, but now things have been upset. Team Liquid will be the one forcing into this third round here. UMPs, Galil for Pimp, and then a Tech 9 and a P250, looking at Stanislaw and Nitro respectively. Decent utility actually, considering the circumstances here. They had a mouth up that's already been used now that are going to events to allow them freer control over middle, so they'll be focusing on that. For the most part, they actually will be able to get this first half of it for free. They even smoked off that area there too to allow them to transition over to the vents. That may not be the plan. Regardless, though, it's been enough to push DSR back outside of Z, and this will allow Team Liquid to push back in and take the rest of the control if they want to.
Yeah, and I think it's fine playing a default setup just because look at all the utility that they have and look at the limited amount of utility that Liquid has, right? So hypothetically speaking, they should be able to use, well, not if Nifty decides to do that for whatever reason, but they should be able to delay them. And instead, we're seeing Liquid just dismantle them.
So Liquid now turning the tables onto what initially was looking okay here for Selfless. Now, unfortunately, it's gone back against them, and it's down to Slemmy and DSR as the last 2 who are just going to be falling back to save. And even that may get counted out depending on how well Stanislaw is able to read this. He's at 12 HP, so obviously he's not going to be in the best position, but if he goes into the vents, he could try to stop them from going any further than the B site. Won't be doing that, though. And again, these 2, judging from the position, should actually be relatively safe to save those 2 rifles. Stan at 12 HP. I'm not going to expect him to upset here, but we'll wait in a moment and see. As he gets himself through Z up to the box. Gotta check for this player on the left side, though. But again, does not actually follow through with it. So everyone else is still pretty far away from those 2, so they'll be able to save, but it is Team Liquid that return the favor and now get up to 2-1. But with those saves, more than likely we'll see Selfless force again, too.
Yeah, and I mean, I would think what would happen is they'd be able to spot them out early enough that they utilize their utility in those situations, and then they'd be able to, you know, by the time Liquid actually hits the site, they have them contained, they have an extra player rotated, and, you know, are in position to win the round. Instead, though, Nifty gets caught off early. The XU comes without them throwing any nades because they don't spot early enough, and they just get overran. So back-to-back, you know, trading of rounds, pushing door right now with Selfless. Nitro backs off. He knows that it came. He knows that they are indoors, so he's playing it very, very passively here.
Nitro positioning himself again, as you mentioned, to wait and see if Selfless will push out against the Squeaky Hall. You do have Slemmy and CJ both positioned in there, waiting to see if the T's will push into it, but right now it's a bit of a standoff. In the meantime, though, the rest of Team Liquid did get themselves into either this hallway here or in A main, but they're going to push against it. These will have a battle for it. Slemmy first up the bat. Pimp quick on the trade, though, and CJ sticking around. They'll go for it, and CJ, he'll be able to pick up Pimp as too, so Selfless get the better of it. They have a 4v3 going for themselves, and well, for right now, CJ just going to close the door. Unfortunately, that kind of leaves his teammate out to dry, and Caboose is going to get knocked out by Elige. Now they push against CJ. He doesn't realize how quickly Elige wrapped around him there. So the tables turn yet again, and we end up in a 3v2 in the favor of Team Liquid as they kind of evacuate out from that A bomb site.
Yeah, not opting to even take control. So this is a very strange round. I mean, they kept 2 indoor for a really long time. Caboose misplayed that, though. Had he stayed alive, you know, just because the player in the door is in there and you can't see anybody doesn't mean like they during a post plant, you could give him the sight if you have a player indoor like that. It makes it so difficult for the Liquid guys to actually do anything with it. Instead, he kind of just challenges in the spot that he shouldn't be challenging and kind of gives up the advantage that he had by having CJ in the door.
Well, now Nifty creeping his way back up to try and see if he can hunt for a headshot. There you go. He's going to be able to find it. JDM going down. We're even again into a 2v2, and he's recovered an extra rifle here. DSR, speaking of which, using his own rifle to knock down Stanislav, so it's on Elige, and he gets burned out of cover. And although he picks up Nifty, DSR trades, and again, nobody can hold an advantage here as the rounds continue to go back and forth, and now back again into the hands of Selfless as they're going to tie this up at 2-2.
Yeah, so just trading rounds left and right, and this is always going to favor the terrorists, though. Like, you look at their buy, it's a full buy. They're not going to be lacking anything, but Nifty is just impressing me with his deagle work. That's a great shot. Just 6 kills right now, and almost all of them are deagle kills. I think he had 2 USP kills and 4 deagle kills. So just doing great work with his pistol. And Liquid, though, I mean, even though they lost that round, they still have a better buy.
Yeah, and we can see the issues with Team Liquid's investment, or excuse me, with Selfless's investment coming in here now as the downgrades galore, along with just scavenged guns they're still working with here, which nothing wrong with that necessarily, but Nifty sitting back down on the SMG, and Caboose also working with a UMP to try and play with here too. Good news is utility is actually really decent over there on the CT side right now. Molotovs galore, as they have 3 of them still to work with on the team, along with a decent amount of smokes, flashbangs, and even an HE grenade sitting on Slemmy there. It's very, very hesitant early on here as Team Liquid do have the op pickup coming in now. It's going to be in the hands of JDM. Position on the boost, but mid is actually going to be relatively quiet, so I don't know if he's actually going to get a chance. He may be able to spot out this guy over here on white box as Caboose is playing towards that, but beyond that, he will have to actually egress inside of mid to take control there and look for those kills. Selfless, though, actually just decided to back up away from it, and they're going to leave it open for right now, keeping, I believe that is going to be Slemmy back over here by the white box position, or possibly Nifty as well. A little bit hard to see the number, unfortunately, but still, no progress being made by Liquid yet, and they're down to 30 seconds, so you have to wonder what the plan is. They're just in a default setup. JDM, though, finally taking a kill against Caboose, but again, still no follow-up, as finally it seems the plan has been found. They're going to head into the B-halls and try to make a push here, but Molotovs from the CT side is going to block that off. They have to wait even longer here now. They're going to have no time to think or strategize here at all. They just have to rush into the site and hope they can work it out. CJ gets one, Elige trades it back out. Nifty is hit by a flashbang, and they are trying to focus on this plant, but Nifty, you got to find that player there. Pimp and Nitro find some kills. Slemmy picks one up as well, but now Slemmy pushing back in. It's Liquid that wins it, and again the trades continue.
Wow. Yeah, they traded, but that was the most important of all. Like, they 100% broke Selfless. It's going to be really difficult for them to win this round. I know they won it before off Nifty's deagle plays, but they are like almost full saving now. They've only spent just a few $100s on P250s, and that was so smart by Nitro. Instead of sticking the plant, he taps it. Nifty starts spamming through the smoke, and he just guns it through there, and you know, gets off the bomb and then gets that kill. That was really, really smart by him. Now this round is going how you typically think anti-eco should go for once. Liquid kind of running them over, and they should take early control of this half here, going up 4-2. They're going to have a pretty decent amount of money. I don't think one player is even going to die here, or, you know, maybe one death max.
Yeah, so Selfless finally giving respect to Liquid in terms of the buying power here now, since they ran on empty. The war of attrition has finally concluded in the favor of Team Liquid, and it's not seeming like they're going to have any issues with closing up the follow-up round here on just P250s and defaults. Already Selfless are down to 2 players, and they've been denied access at every single point of access here to the B-bomb site. So more than likely Team Liquid looking at a 5 or 4-man alive round, assuming that no one else gets caught out here. There we go. DSR, the last real danger to them, is knocked out. Somebody's pretty disconnected from all of it, so he's not even going to get close to finding any of these remaining 5.
Yeah, now 4-2. We'll see if they're gonna buy. See, like, even if they buy, the money isn't great. I don't know if they're even gonna want to. We'll see if they do a conservative buy, or you know, if they save and play conservatively, or if they try to buy here. Does look like it's gonna be a save, but they're gonna have some type of a nade stack. Usually this happens towards middle, and JDM might pay for it.
They move into it though. JDM getting hit by. Oh, it looked like he was going to be okay too, with the slowed movement after the nades leaves it in the open for long enough to allow for Nifty to impact. Wow. However, immediately after that, yeah, Stan racking up a nice little 3K there as he pretty much destroys everyone else on Selfless. Caboose not going to get very far either. Nitro sinks the last kill, and yeah, beyond the successful nade stack against JDM, the guys from Selfless do not get anything done there at all. And I believe the op is also recovered back, so no, nothing really lost out of that one.
Yeah, not too bad. Just, you know, one death. Poor JDM.
Yeah, nothing he could really do there, even to try to back up. But like I said, he got slowed by getting hit by those nades, and that left them open for the pistol player.
Now DSR grabbing the op. You know, Nifty kind of put down the op. He was opping for a bit. He put it down. Perfect timing onto Pimp. That sucks if you're Pimp. Saying, why me, man? Look where I am. I'm like the 4th guy.
He's like in the very back of that huge stack of players. And he's the one that ends up getting knocked back out there. So Selfless now actually still prepared for this too, but Elige all of a sudden spins back around to check for CJ, and Nitro finds a beautiful entry onto DSR, who had evacuated all the way to the back of the bomb site there. They take him down. The defenses are gone here on the inner site. So now Nifty, Slemmy, and Caboose have to try and pull up some sort of a retake. We do have Nifty already falling way back over there towards A, so there's not even going to be an attempt at this. They're just going to let Team Liquid take control, and they will push themselves up to 6 now. Ever since we saw the trade spree end, it's been all Team Liquid, and this round's going to be no different.
And I think it's smart to save here. You're not going to retake against Liquid in this situation when... And the main reason that it's so difficult to retake there isn't necessarily because it's 3v4 and a B, but because they took B with using, you know, very limited nades, right? You know, by the time that they even get to the site, they're going to have to worry about like multiple flashbangs and smokes and HE grenades, and it's just such a difficult retake in that, you know, when that happens, when a site just gets taken cleanly like that. I still think like it's a lot better though to go for safe exits there, maybe like 3 stacking spawn or something like that, instead of just fully saving, since you are going to be saving this round anyways on the other 2 players, you know, so. Maybe each of them gets like a deagle. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So DSR invests into that, but CJ basically picking up nothing beyond a P250. Very light for him, as the rest of Selfless, though, is going to actually put a lot of defense in B this round. It's 3 players quick inside, and CJ even pushing himself out over there inside of the hallway, with Nifty sitting just behind him. So they've gone very aggressive to look for intel. Problem being, though, is Team Liquid have gone away, obviously, from their aggressive play they did in the last round. They're right back into the default here, and if they do push too far down that hallway, there's 2 guys on Liquid waiting for them inside of the useless room. But however, their focus is not really on countering out a push right now. They were trying to set up smokes, as you can see, to get themselves into A. So the possibility for that flank is still very much alive right now, as Liquid did not stick around long enough to be able to handle that. So in they go, and the defenses here on A are very weak. They are just playing it for a retake here currently. Caboose sitting back over here at Truck, but he's not going to find anything at all, which means if they're going to go for this, they need to start wrapping back over now, as the bomb's going to go down in the second, and Selfless have made 0 movements at all, which is going to make this a little bit tougher, obviously.
That was sick. I think they threw smoke so that they could wrap from fork to site without even being inside of the smokes and like being able to see everything, and then also smoking off quads, so showing like a completely different look than anybody would really think. I mean, obviously they didn't run into anybody because it was a beast stack, but that was cool.
Yeah, and with this, look at how clean the mop-up is, too, as Selfless realized what was happening so late. Nobody even really doing any significant damage to anybody on Team Liquid. Stan was down at 59 HP. Finally, Caboose being able to grab a kill. He actually gets a second one, too. They're a little bit hungry to be able to take down Caboose, but finally they succeeded in it. And now DSR, hiding close to the site. He's probably going to leap in here in a second to be able to, at the very least, pick up a gun, if not take down JDM. There's the gun, and oh, he didn't even see JDM there, so he missed an opportunity to drop the op, which would have been big considering how much money they have. Forcing a full rebuy on him would have been very, very expensive, but ultimately, Liquid still taking control and pushing their lead forward even more here.
Yeah, Slemmy definitely should have had that kill on Stanislaw. I mean, he got the jump on him. Took Stanislaw about 2 bursts from Slemmy to even realize where he really was. Now they go for the double op setup, Nifty and DSR. DSR going towards the A site, 2 middle, 2 B, so a 1-2-2 setup. He's a fence right away, gets blinded. Looked like it was going to be on him, and now the Molotov's right now.
One of the weird occurrences where it looks like he hits the shot, but he moved a second before or something like that, so the shot unfortunately not going to sink. However, damage done to DSR early on, and Nitro finishing the job as well. Down he will go. We go into a 5v4 very quickly. Smokes again covering off their route into the site if Team Liquid want to follow through with this, but they do seem a bit hesitant on it. Still in that default pattern right now, along with the fact that there is a minute and 10 seconds left on the clock here, so no reason to rush anything just yet. The only problem they're going to be facing is the fact they did use a majority of their smokes, but look at Caboose getting up close here. If he pushes much further, he's going to flashbang on a pimp there, gets that kill, but Nitro sitting in the other edge of the box is available for the trade, so Liquid still hold a one-man advantage here.
Yeah, and Liquid wasn't even committed to that. They were just looking for any battles that they could take at A. They were just in a 3-1-1. They still had somebody holding B. They still had somebody holding mid. So they had fallback options. They had lurk options. They had map control. They were really just looking for opportunistic gun battles. And DSR, unfortunately, gets blind, misses the shot, gets stuck fence, and kind of gives it to him, right? So that was a nice little strat by Liquid, just able to, you know, make something happen at the start of the round while still not giving up anything across the map.
Well, now they will push forward here. Stan, though, laser action time there against CJ to be able to take him down when he tries to swing out and get aggressive against these guys. Slemmy even pushing back from the truck position to watch out for this highway push. It does work out for him, actually, as he picks up the first kill. Unfortunately, won't be able to survive for much longer than that, as this goes down to a 1v3 with Nifty being that last one alive. He does push up towards truck, but I think he's just going to be spotting to see if he can get a kill, and if not, he'll pretty quickly fall back to save that op. Stepping up for it, just giving himself the flashbang to help out a little bit. And the flashbang connects, but just nothing for him to actually hit the shot onto. So there's the fallback, and we'll be seeing the save from him in a second. However, Nitro will be moving to challenge that, and if he follows through with this one, he may actually be able to catch Nifty depending on where he decides to hold himself for the save.
Yeah, we'll see. He's walk hunting very early on, and with this extra 5 seconds on the bomb timer, there's a good chance he's going to find out where he is.
Yeah, he's already found himself in the right room, but he does have to check over here onto the platform. It's not really there for it, though, unfortunately, so Nifty is able to close out, and that should spell a successful save for him. Unfortunately, the rest of his team is sitting in a bit of an odd spot, so there is going to be a pause call here, probably part of the discussion being whether they want to justify the buy, which they actually do. So the CTs are going to go for the investment. There's already a second M4 purchase. We just have to see what the rest of them can scavenge together here.
Yeah, and I mean, 2 to 8, Liquid has to have a ton of money at this point, right? I mean, and finally, after they, you know, go back and forth and trade, I believe there's like 15K on Nitro right now. Or, excuse me, JDM, and everybody else has a ton of money. So they're going to be pretty much good for the rest of the half, you know, going into this 11th round. And at the start there with, you know, Selfless, it was looking like they were going to be able to hang. All of a sudden, Liquid just makes a huge, like, just surge. You know, winning 6 rounds in a row now. And having a huge bank built up, and frankly, most of these rounds haven't even been close after those first 4.
Yeah,
it's just been a slaughter.
It's been all Liquid. I mean, obviously Liquid had to take the time to stabilize things as those rounds are getting traded back and forth, but as you mentioned, ever since then, it's been all Liquid. This time, though, they're going to kind of test their luck pushing through that Molotov very early on. It was positioned to counter this boost, but still, they push right in. They already have 3 guys here and control of all the way up to vents here, along with being able to take down CJ, who, unfortunately, you know, has been, for the majority of the time, positioned here out in mid, has really never been successful in picking up any kills. So once again, he's knocked right back out, probably by the sandbag spot, which has kind of been his favorite spot to play, and doesn't really have anything to show for it beyond a little bit of damage on the Pimp and JDM, and that was probably coming in mainly from the Molotov too.
Yeah, and you know, they're reading the situation right. They're going towards B. There's just DSR here with the FAMAS. So it's going to be a very tough round for him to win. And he needs to wide peek, excuse me, Slemmy with the FAMAS. He needs to wide peek after that heavy flash comes. They don't even bother to smoke spawn. They just get that kill, and Slemmy is under such pressure.
The flashbangs are actually pretty good against the T's right now, so Slemmy has a lot of room, but he's really hesitant to peek back out. Up to 2 kills now, though, but he's the last man standing, and ultimately the trades that Liquid got out on the open there in the site from everybody else themselves that was trying to rotate did allow for them to set up for that final 2v1.
Oh, Slemmy had multiple opportunities to win that round. There was flashes coming over heaven multiple times that the CTs were completely blind and just not able to peek wide enough, just playing far too passive. I understand you want to stay alive, but if you could get a kill and then stay alive, and then a new flash comes, get a kill and stay alive, and work off your teammates a little bit better, you probably win that round. Now Selfless is a bit desperate. They decide to buy here instead of letting Liquid get to 10 and maybe doing a pistol half armor or, you know, a small contest like that. They just full buy right now.
A lot of aggression going to be coming back out, though. Nitro's going to have to challenge some in the back over here in the transition group. Gets one. It does get traded back out, but in the meantime, though, they did take down some of the... they did take down, I think, one of them back over here towards mid, too, as it's left down to Slemmy and DSR after everything is said and done. And on the other side of it, Team Liquid only lost Nitro back over here. Player that had pushed his way out, though, has retreated in the meantime. And over there on the A-bomb side is where the remaining defenders are going to be positioned here, as Slemmy and DSR just stack up on the site. And Elise is going to push towards it. The rest of the team is still kind of hanging out in mid. Not really sure of where they want to play this, but Elise will push up, although he gets dinked and finished off by Slemmy. But down at 20 HP, it's still not going to be a whole lot of HP to work with here. But Team Liquid are still better off ignoring that and going to the other site, which is going to be the right call. They never actually confirmed the position of that second player, so there is still, in theory, the possibility that they were split 1-1. But with this going this way, they are going to have an easy path to get onto this bomb site and pretty much win the round for free here, as the guys from Selfless are pretty long on the rotate.
Yeah, and I mean, they have a smoke, Molotov, 2 flashes, nades. This would be a very difficult retake, especially with Slemmy only on 20% HP. So it looks like they're probably just going to save. There's just not much you could do in this situation. And it's just all Liquid here. I mean, everything they're doing is working. Seems like they're making the right calls, the right reads. They're going to the right spots. And even when, you know, Selfless has like good rotates in order to stop what they're doing, they're not able to execute properly. You know, like for instance, when Slemmy was in the site and the flashes are running in, you know, to peek off of it and really play off those positionings. Similar to what we saw COG, right? A lot of times they were in really good positions, but not able to execute the little things, you know, like hitting the shots and things like that. And now recently we've just been seeing a bunch of people just die at the start of the round for Selfless almost immediately.
And it's just been easy entries for the most part from Team Liquid. I mean, Liquid not even having to be the ones to make the move now. As we look to the past like 2 or 3 rounds, it's been Selfless trying to change the game up and get aggressive, but even that, when they try to do it...
You know, a lot of the time what happens is when you're getting kind of smashed like this, one round somebody's like, hey, I'm just going to take a peek here because they can't seem to get a clean gun battle, and then they die. You know, and then the next round somebody else does it. They're like, hey, I'm just going to try to push here. I can't get anything going, you know. I'm just playing rotate strike or whatever. I'm getting Molotoved, and then they just die at the start of the round. And it just ends up making it like easier and easier to look at when it happens.
Well, finally the aggression pays off as CJ and Nifty double team outside of the B bomb site, and they get the bomb too, more importantly. There's a smoke covering off the cross. CJ is going to have to move in a moment here, but he gets aggressive, pushing forward. They also hit the T's, but oh no, CJ running out of ammo there is not actually able to fully execute against JDM. With that smoke gone away, they should be able to retrieve it, but look at that from Nitro, fully blind. Still lines up the headshot against Nifty. Unfortunately, Pimp, he tries to rotate back in to help, but he goes down, but JDM is there for the counter trade, taking out Slemmy. Here comes Caboose in the flank, missing these shots, though, is going to give JDM room to respond, and now again, Selfless had every advantage at the beginning of this round, but it's been brought down to a disadvantage scenario against their favor. DSR having to clutch 1v2, and he's stuck in this tiny little position, nowhere else he can run. He's been put in a cage, and in the meantime, Team Liquid grabbed the bomb, and they're running over here to the A-bomb site.
Yeah, and they're going to beat him there so fast. And I mean, like again, I mean, they just keep flashing a B and trying to peek, but anybody at Sunroom, and they're not going to be able to get the kills. They're not peeking from Checker's entrance either. They're just peeking from the main entrance every time. And I mean, they get the kill on Pimp, and they're in such good position to win the round. And look what happens. Every time they're in position to win the round, they don't have the teamwork. You know, they just don't have the teamwork and the communication to really pull it together, and having everybody really know what they're responsible for and what they're supposed to do, you know, and people over peaking and things like that.
So they throw away an opportunity there, and DSR does not even decide to try and chase the 1v2. He's sitting back safely inside of Sunroom to wait out the timer here and save the rifle for the next round as the money is still in. They're still going to have enough to buy, so at the very least it just boosts his own economy a little bit there. It's not really going to allow for them to buy it, where previously they would have had to save it
drop
like
to
that.
Nifty because he only has 39, so he'll probably do that, yeah. But I mean, you know, when we talk about like over peaking, most people think about over peaking is, oh, just you know, there's a guy posted with an op and then you peek him like a dummy, right? And you die to him. But a lot of over peaking comes from like discipline in these really chaotic situations where you don't want to peek in those situations because just your presence of staying alive is like a huge advantage, or you know, you staying alive even though you're probably going to die, but you're going to give your teammates, you know, a chance to counter frag really easily and things like that. Those are like examples of over peaking that really lose you rounds at like a high level, because everybody knows not to peek ops in certain areas and things like that at a high level. But what they don't have, and what we're not seeing from Selfless, is a lot of time like the discipline to not peek, to not get pop flashed, right? To utilize your advantage to the fullest, or to peek more in Slemmy's case when he was, you know, B site.
Well, we do have a team like that's actually going to go very directly out onto this site here. Nifty picking up 2 frags before trading out. And not only this too, but he got great damage over on the Nitro. He's down at 7 HP after everything is said and done, but DSR did not remain aggressive. He's allowed for JDM and the other members of Team Liquid to shuffle out from A main. Slemmy getting hit by this flashbang too is going to open up a room for Stanislaw to take him back down. Again, a great advantage. They were 5v3 at the start of this round when we saw Nifty go off, but now it's turned against them and they're 3v2, although Caboose is going to look to change that. Gets himself a nice headshot there against Nitro to take him back down. Even again, his teammate are double teaming this right now. They have both reached the site. JDM is sitting back in quad. They know that he's going to be positioned there somewhere. He misses his shot too. Now it's falling to Stanislaw, and there's a smoke in front of him, so he's not going to be able to spot them. It's a stuck defuse from CJ, and he may not even realize this, so this is probably just going to end up getting ninja'd here. Stanislaw got the kill, but it doesn't matter as Selfless finally have picked up another round after, I believe that was like 8 or 9 straight for Liquid there.
And it was just like a quick door boost or burst and perfect positioning to stop that. I'm not sure who was there for those initial kills.
Thanks to the confirmation on the count, guys.
Stop the 9 win streak.
Yeah.
9 round win streak, yeah.
So for Team Liquid here now, they will just actually, well, they're going to get super aggressive here. Rolling out, they find the first kill, but they don't account for Slemmy on their side. He goes big along with Caboose, and they get 3 kills together. Again, an advantage for them, but the real question is, are they going to be able to keep hold on this? This is happening.
Yeah, but CJ is kind of winning the round for them right now. He's doing a really good job of containing them, of getting information, and with 2 players at A in a 2v2, they should be able to take this.
We'll find out in a moment here. They are prepped for it, getting ready. They've not put any utility yet. JDM with a big wide peek finds a shot on the Caboose. Unfortunately, he's heavily lit, and DSR is going to be able to move back in there to catch the trade. A 1v1 on the site. That flank is still a ways off here, but I think DSR has the appropriate read on the situation, and he'll indeed walk up the face of Stanislaw to close it out. Selfless, unfortunately, still have a lot of ground to make up, but they show us some signs of life at the end of the half. Let's see if they can bring it back anymore, as they're going to be jumping onto the other side of the table here in just a few moments, as our first map and our second set of the night continues in just a few seconds.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we stayed at Selfless, falling behind Team Liquid here after trading the first 5 rounds without a single team winning 2 straight. It was Team Liquid that took control, taking 9 straight after that, and then Selfless claiming the last 2. So we end up 11-4 at the end of the day there, with Team Liquid having a huge advantage. Obviously, still a lot of ways that Selfless needs to kind of crawl back into this match if they want to have any chance of winning it.
Yeah, and I think Liquid kind of just near the end of that half was just like, yeah, let's just do like these, 5-man Bs and things like that, and kind of, didn't push the advantage like I think they could have. But their CT cache is really good every time we have watched them on this map. I think people need to start kind of vetoing it against them. But at least pushing bottom mid, this is a common play that we've been seeing quite a lot lately. And we'll see if he tries to push the advantage even more. B main smoke from CJ, or no, maybe Slemmy, I think it was. And now they're doing stuff towards B, and they have 3-4 people there with a mid lurker.
Pimp is also waiting up on the platform here too. The good news is with that position there, yeah, Elige is really, really close to being able to immediately jump into the vents. Pimp spotting the play initially here, but he's going to be challenged still. Holding off though. There was 2 instant headshots against these players. CJ finally trading onto him, but now more rotating in from heaven here, and they've done massive damage to Caboose to send him back. Didn't realize though that Slemmy was sitting over here by the headless position, so it's left to stand, and he unfortunately can't find that impact on the Caboose quickly enough. So it's Selfless that follow through, and they'll pick up the second half pistol.
Yeah, a couple missed shots from Liquid in a round that I really thought they were going to win, especially after Pimp gets these 2 kills. I think they thought it was an A retake at that point. They started running back, or DSR did. Nifty going down. Caboose with a nice lurk at middle. I think he killed Elige there probably, and that had a big impact on that round as well. But the rotate was coming so fast, I thought Liquid was going to win it. But Slemmy has really good pistols. That's the one thing about Slemmy. I swear his pistols are nuts, and his P250 is like insane.
What Team Liquid is doing here, they have a 4-man stack at Sandbags right now. They take down Nitro, that's like the safe kill. That's the one they assume is going to be there. Now the real question is, are they going to expect the other 3? Problem being though is they may not actually follow through and push all the way up to the edge of Sandbags, since it looks like they are positioned to try and work their way out. Stands next to Peek It. He does spot Caboose, so there's a surprise there. Oh, what's this? There's 2 more pushing out. Elige grabs 1 into Caboose, and that's going to send Slemmy back and probably send them hurling into the B-bomb site, since off of that they're going to know the defenses are very weak. At most 1 player will be in there, but actually it's Nifty going out towards A here that finds Elige, but regardless they've gotten into B and they have full control there, so Liquid really have nothing to work with, and more than likely they'll just position for exits in a second here.
Yeah, look at that AK and probably just try to save it at this point. But they came out like roaches. That's
when you kill a wolf spider.
Yeah.
all the babies are from underneath.
Who are you celebrating for International Women's Day, Blue?
Women around the world.
Yeah.
All women.
I think Leslie Knope.
It's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real role model.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real role model for April Ludgate.
All right. Getting into this next round here, after Selfless do take control, we will have 1 additional save coming in from Team Liquid, but after this, it is time to get serious, as they'll have the money to invest. They do still have that AK though, so they won't be completely out of the action for this one. They may still be able to find a couple kills to get the money low on Selfless, and that's what's going to be key for them, is basically just trying to hold on to as large of a gap as possible. When they do get the full gun power rolling, we can even see Nitro having the armor up behind his buy now. So if he can kill 2 to 3 players here and make it so that if they win that first gun, they've immediately broken Selfless, they can re-solidify their advantage within just the first couple rounds here.
I mean, this is definitely doable from Selfless. They actually have a lot of wiggle room if they could just, lose the rounds the right way, where they get a lot of kills and they get the bomb down and they could buy the next round and hurt their economy. They could very easily win this game. But from what I've seen of Liquid's cash so far this season, I mean, they've been very, very stellar on it and have played it very, very well. So I think it's going to be really tough for Selfless to really do this. but just like the score line alone, don't think that Selfless is very far behind at all. 11-7, and on T side of Cash, you could really, really hurt the economy of the CTs.
Team Liquid, though, they do have a good read on this one. Unfortunately, Liege's position is going to get ruined by that Molotov there, so he's pushed out, and this actually weakens it by quite a bit. There's that surprise initially that they could have worked on. Now, we do see Stanislaus sneaking in that 1 kill onto Nifty, but that's essentially it. Nitro was not able to assist all that much with the AK as he was found in the wrong spot on the map, so well, he may stick around here for a couple seconds trying to kill anyone that gets over-aggressive to hunt down these kills. No way we're going to see them try and upset here or do any massive amount of damage. Ultimately, Team Liquid will have to send Nitro back to save that rifle so they can focus up for the first gun round. And that won't even be a possibility as Caboose does end up getting the better of him there.
Yeah, they were going to try to get exits because, you know, Nitro can buy, and he is a white truck, so he could definitely get a couple kills there. Fortunately for him, does not happen. Now they will have a really good vibe because they didn't invest too much in these second and third rounds after they lost the pistol. So they'll have a lot of utility, and, you know, Selfless has a lot of money as well, so it's going to take a couple rounds for them to break Selfless. They're going to have to win 2 in a row. CJ gets bumped so the Z-Smoke doesn't land, but his teammates got his back. I think his teammate threw one. They probably wanted to do some type of fast strat, I would assume, but probably had to cancel it off that. No, they still go out middle, and Stan in the vents gets taken out very early by CJ. And Sandbags Molly comes out. He's the only player in middle with 3 players towards A. But JDM's in a really nice position to make something happen. He's getting 2 kills at the highway. Now Slemmy versus Nitro, that's going to be a big frag, but Nitro able to take him out. And the correct read by Liquid, a very passive B play by them, 1 towards middle, 3 towards A. Just that one unexpected player there. It just makes all the world a difference.
So that is going to give them their key back into holding control. The problem being, though, is, again, they still lose quite a lot of players in that one, so they're not going to be anywhere near, you know, solidified here. When we take a look at it, they're still basically running on empty for every single player. Stan's still working with a UMP. And Elige really has no utility beyond that smoke, too. So they're still in a bit of a hot seat here, especially if Selfless just come back and swing in.
Yeah,
here.
but I think they have a better buy than Selfless just because they have the AWP. I mean, Slemmy has a Galil, and it's pretty equivalent to Stan's UMP, but I'd rather have the UMP and a bunch of nades like he has. But the AWP is just such a powerful weapon, so I'd favor the Liquid buy even, you know? But having said that, JDM, you know, this is why you favor it. When you have an operator like JDM who's able to make it 4v5 in scenarios like this, that's why it's so powerful. And Selfless not playing really methodically, not playing slow, just opens up with 2 very fast gun rounds in a gun round versus gun round fashion, and you know, gets punished for it early on both times.
They do manage to force JDM back temporarily. They obviously just focuses up on the A bomb site, but mid is not necessarily secure just yet either. Elige having a position in Z. He will have to wait a few moments before he can do anything because of the smoke position, but DSR is certainly investigating here. I'm waiting to see if he'll be able to spot anything else for his teammates to utilize. However, after everything is said and done with the smoke fading, he backs up to that cubby below the boost-up position. And Nifty, I think, actually spotted Stanislaw there in front of the pipes. There's a little bit of a freak out there, so CT's just end up mollying him, boxing him in, but no, they actually thought he retreated for some reason, so Stan is going to walk in looking the wrong direction, and Nifty's going to be able to capitalize on that one. So now we go down to a 4v4. In the meantime, Caboose was moving in. He did commit himself to that spray, so using a lot of ammo there. Still 19, though. Plenty that he can do. And in the meantime, back over on B, they also took down Elige here. So they are trying to rotate back up, but they also have to worry about Caboose. Pimp is holding right back over there. And unfortunately, he's only going to be able to hold for 1 kill. And that will allow Selfless to get back in and take control of that site. With 8 seconds on the clock, Selfless find the plant. Team Liquid will be able to rotate over here after the dispatch of that A guy relatively quickly, but still, they don't have any utility to get back in. But neither really do the Selfless guys have any to try and hold this back up. They got that 1 Molotov sitting on DSR, but that's going to be it. And JDM is already crouching his way in through tree room. Both of them actually playing this together. If they do push back in, the platform is what they really have to watch out for, along with CJ sitting outside. JDM grabs the first one, and now it's just going to be CJ. They are looking towards it right now, but he catches him on an off angle. Thankfully, Nitro, he's able to recover, and JDM is already on his way to the defuse. So Team Liquid are going to be able to push forward and get themselves up to 13.
Yeah, and the important thing to note is that I don't think the Liquid members, you know, JDM was making noise, but I think Nitro was silent that entire time. So because Nitro doesn't give away his position, all of a sudden, I believe it's CJ over there, that was the last man alive for DSR, but that last player alive has to worry about vents. He has to worry about Big Flint. And he can't capitalize off the site player fighting in spawn. If they would have heard Nitro and heard that 2 were spawned, it probably would have been a pretty easy round for Selfless. But those are the type of little things that Liquid does right that a lot of these, you know, lesser teams in the Pro League don't do.
Well, we do have Selfless on the Tech-9 investment, just going pretty straightforward here into the B halls. The only other player that they have away from this is going to be CJ, who's now playing over there inside of Squeaky to cut off any rotations from A. As Team Liquid are still fairly spread out. The problem being, though, is they've already sort of started a pseudo rotation into
Look
this
at
now.
This rotation, though. I mean, who's the number 7 there? I think that's CJ. He's just all out on his own, and there's 5 players towards B.
Caboose has been able to pick up 1 against the Liege, but again, they have every other position with which they can re-enter into this has been smoked off, and now Caboose is going to fall back to make sure none of the CTs were countering against them in mid. They have to go for a haphazard change-up over here to try and take it over towards A instead. Now, this actually could work, but they just took down DSR, so they may realize this in a moment. That and Nitro back over here by the trunk angle. Thankfully, Caboose bails out not only his teammate, but he keeps himself alive. They take him down there. So now they do get onto a site. They do find a plant, and with that going here, Team Liquid are all of a sudden in a disadvantaged position. But not anymore. JDM is going to get up there and basically find Caboose for free. Catches him up on top of the shed. And now they have the 3v2, and they're already sitting at the gates to retake this as well. Utility still actually something that they have a decent amount of. As you take a look, Team Liquid still has another Molotov to try and toss back out. And with all these nades working their way out from A main, we see the peek from Slemmy, but he wasn't able to get anyone. It seemed like he had almost free reign to try and take down the player back over by truck angle. Now it's down on CJ. Missed op shot from the CTs. He does edge out 1 headshot here, and then both the remaining 2 are lined back up. In fact, he gets one of them. It's JDM that is just barely able to close out on that one, but indeed, he does close out and pushes Team Liquid up to 14, now redoubling the scoreline against Selfless.
CJ had some nut shots, man. I play with him in rank S all the time, and he has really, really good aim. Selfless makes a really good decision to not execute on that B site. I mean, that was one of the most aggressive rotates I've ever seen. They didn't have anybody even flank or anything like that. Everyone just flooded. And Selfless punished them for it. I mean, they got back to A in a 3v3. Bomb was planted for A main. Caboose, for some reason, jumps up on the E-box, though, and kind of just gives away his life for free. And, you know, Liquid is one of the best retake teams in North America, that's for sure.
Let's go Selfless now as they do push themselves out onto A, but again, it's not leading to a whole lot. Nitro and Elige already picking up 2 players here. There is a good position from Nifty to be able to respond onto 1. Stanislaw now also trying to creep back around over here to see if he can find that trade on the Nifty. He is ready for it, though, although he does get dinked, and now it's a 3v2 with a combined HP of, well, what is now 17. It was like 36 a second ago before CJ walked through that Molotov. So he's going to be very easy pickings for anybody that pushes through. I think Liquid are going to wait a second here for the smoke to fade away, and indeed, there's reasoning to that. As the second it does, they spot CJ in the opening, and he mistimes it. And even though he gets behind the box, JDM is still able to read his position and take him out through it. Nifty will have to clutch 1v3 at 10 HP. They'll check inside of A main, and he won't get anything done. Nitro immediately puts a stop to it, and Team Liquid will now go up to map point.
Yeah, 15-7, and this T side by Selfless, I mean, I'm just not seeing much, you know, not seeing anything really well thought out. I mean, it's just kind of a lot of grouping up and fighting and Liquid over rotating. So we'll take a look at the stats. Nifty, the standout performer from Selfless with 100 ADR, 19 and 20, but not one of them is positive on the scoreboard. And meanwhile, on Liquid, Alicia's always putting up, you know, big frags with Nitro and JDM, 18, 20, and 18. So getting it done pretty evenly across the Liquid team, you know, but Selfless having a lot of troubles on this T side. And they're gonna buy here. I believe they have 4 AKs and maybe like a Tech-9 or something on Slemmy. He'll probably get utility, but their utility is very low as well. Really just 1 set of nades to work with. No, 2 sets, sorry, on a Nifty and Slemmy.
Yeah, so 3 smokes overall, one of which was already just tossed out there from CJ over, I'm imagining just, yeah, it looks like it just landed over there at Z, so to cover that one off. But the problem being, they can't really capitalize on this just yet. The good news is that pop flash against the wall there is going to send him reeling back into the B-bomb site, and the entry in mid has worked out. They found JDM there, so not everything is going bad at the start of this one. Selfless may have the aptitude to keep themselves in this game, but there's still a lot more to go, and again, keep in mind, that second smoke I used, they only have 1 more to enter and hold in the post plan here. Vent control being theirs too, so we have to kind of wait to determine if Selfless are going to follow through with this on a B hit. There's CT presence in A-main, so they know they have nothing there, which means all of the remaining members of Liquid have rotated in. Pimp getting 1, but underestimating the amount of players that actually pushed back in. And Stan was trying to fall back, but unfortunately, the timing just did not really work out for him. Not only this, but Nifty waiting in that mini pit now after taking down a player on the site just a moment ago. Also dispatches of 1 that tried to quick rotate from heaven. So Nitro, there's not really a whole lot he can do. Liquid's money is really the question here, because if they have enough for a rebound, then he can stick around and try to just kill as many of them as possible. But but money's not really a liberty that they have currently going for them. So Nitro's going to have to hang on here, picking up one additional kill against DSR. There's a lot more to go, though. He still has a 1v3, and he's about to be flanked out from Garage in a moment, too. The smoke will go back in, allowing him to transition into checkers. So he pushes himself into there at the very least. Slummy's actually going to challenge him there, too. But Nitro actually may go through this smoke. He fortunately reacts to that one a little bit too slowly, and Slummy pushes himself in checkers and finishes off Nitro before he can do any additional damage.
And all of a sudden, they really broke Liquid's economy. I mean, they're probably going to save here, I would assume. No real reason to buy, you know, because they do only need one more round. Pimp does get a scout, though. Okay, so they are buying. Or no, 3 of them are kind of buying to the level of their other teammates, essentially. And Selfless, though, we'll see. They should be able to pick up this round. But right there, Liquid getting very aggressive on the round before it beat. Now we see Liquid making it an early 3v5.
Yeah, Selfless pretty aggressively go for boost control there. Problem being is they did not suspect for there to be like 3 players from Team Liquid sitting in mid. So Liege gets brought down kind of low, losing 2/3 of his health pool, but Stan doesn't get hit at all. And off of that, they get themselves a pretty big advantage. The good news is I think both guns got knocked back, so at least you're not going to see Liquid getting any upgrades there, but that's not what matters. It's the 5v3 at this point. Selfless are going to be on recovery for the rest of this round.
Yeah, but it is 3v5, and that means all the Liquid players can just try to play in like one-and-done spots and probably win this round. They have 3 towards B, though, and only 2 towards A, so we'll see how they decide to... how do they decide to handle this? Looks like they're going to stick together and go through Z. So this is a very unorthodox way of winning this round. And this could really catch the Liquid members off guard.
Yeah, CJ is going to be shifting over here through True, and they do actually have players moving up, but they're walking right out, and this is going to be a quick double kill for CJ. Easy frags for him. Pimp and Nitro both go down, and now we're even again. JDM caught on the backside of all of this over here. He'll be pushing himself out to the mid garage currently, but that may have just actually saved Selfless in this round, allowed them to take it. Indeed, CJ following through with yet another frag against JDM, taking him out in these last 2 at A. Well, now they're in a bad position and they won't really be able to do much else. So Selfless, although things start off pretty bad for them, they do recover really nicely with that flank through Z and in through T room, or tree room. And off of that, they should be cool to set up a 9th round.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, people are not going to expect that Z walkout in a 3v5 especially. So a very unorthodox way of winning the round, you know, works for Selfless. They're able to 3v5 and not even lose a member from their team.
And in the meantime, obviously, Liege, you can see him sitting on the other side of the map there. He was able to fall back, go to the bottom of that boost up position where previously Selfless lost 2 of their players. He found an AK, so he gets that one for free, giving him a little bit of a bonus upgrade here. And yeah, we can see the big play on the round again as CJ. Like we said, the flank there through Z really caught them off guard. This AK from Liege, though, is really all they are going to have heading into this round. Beyond that, most of them just half buy again, down to around the 2K mark, which for all 4 of them is just going to be an upgraded pistol. 2 Deagles, 2 5.7s, evenly split across the board there. And Liege has got to be the big man on the field here, and he's also playing in mid, so he may get his chance early on, as it looks like Selfless may want to aggress out here and try to take some control to allow for either vents or highway control again.
Yeah, and they're just going to try to support that AK. 3 towards B, Pimp deagling around the middle. Excuse me, 4 towards A. And Pimp deagling around middle. I think it's boosted on site, if I'm not mistaken. For, who was that? JDM, yeah. And then Liege just kind of hanging around on the right side of E-Box. So if his teammates can get a kill, he might be able to clean up and multi-frag really well here. But we'll see. B-side's completely open, so if Selfless finds that out, it'll be an easy round for them, but if they run to this stack, they could be in trouble.
Well, Nifty already pushing himself forward here. Has himself the position behind Spindle on Highway. There's a big bee's nest of Team Liquid players waiting up on top of this, so he needs to be very, very cautious of that. Thankfully, I think Slummy did a job of fishing it out earlier on, so Nifty can take his time about his Highway press now. He's already found Nitro out, being cautious of the possible flank from Z, and it's certainly going to be a reality as Pimp is sitting inside of there right now, and he does not have any additional teammates to bail him out when he does push back in. He's a little bit confused as he moves back in, but actually holds himself quite nicely. Finally traded up by JDM, who finds both of the kills on this site. In the meanwhile, though, the 3 remaining players from Selfless pushed into B, and again, got easy control here, as CJ is kind of just moving out to hunt down these last 2. JDM has himself an AK to work with, but no armor behind it, no additional utility, and playing out in the open is certainly going to be doomed for him, as CJ solidifies things there with the final headshot kill against JDM.
Yeah, so Liquid now able to get their buy that they saved, they double saved for. And even on these double save rounds, they got a decent amount of kills. I think it was 3 kills the first one, 2nd kills the next one. It's not going to really matter because, Selfless is going to be able to full buy pretty much, if they keep winning, till the end, right? So it's not too big of a deal. But slight B pressure by CJ. We'll see B pressure pushing outside Liquid though. And Stan gets both kills, puts it 3v5 right off the bat. Nobody really in position to do anything either from Selfless. Slemmy just jumps out mid. Very lucky for him that Elige got blind. JDM and Z, no smoke there. So just a very desperate play by Slemmy, and Caboose gets punished instantly by Liquid.
Caboose threw his opponent's smoke there too. Slemmy had gotten through safely, so he thinks he's going to be good to follow through with it.
Yeah,
I think they even know that Slemmy's sitting in the cubby too, as JDM's already watching out for it. His teammate trying to distract as the reapplication of the smoke does come back, and it definitely was a challenge again, although JDM just barely misses that shot. So now at 4 HP, he actually is going to have to fall back. These last 2 will get controlled mid, but look at the problem. It is going to be the fact that they'll now have a CT boosted up inside of vents, and there's going to be another one coming up in the actual boost too. So they have isolated Selfless to essentially just garage control, and now it's just a matter of dispatching these final 2. Slemmy, the last man standing, and Nitro is going to handle them both. So there you have it, a 15-7 downside. They do turn it into 15-10 by the end of it, but ultimately Team Liquid do follow through and close out on that last round there to take the 16th round and take control of this first map.
Yeah, pretty impressive by Liquid. I think it's one of those games where, COG versus Misfits on Inferno, I think it was much closer than the score kind of indicated. And in this game, I think it was kind of more distant than the score indicated. I thought Liquid had control that whole time. I really didn't have any, I wasn't thinking at any point that Selfless was going to come back and win that. So Liquid, pretty impressive there. I think they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit as well on that T-side half. They kind of felt it was in the bag and kind of played way super loose and kind of lost a couple rounds that they probably would normally win.
All right, so to close out the discussion on map number 1, we are going to send it back over to our analysis desk. Stun up. Let's hear your guys' thoughts there on Cash.
Hey, thanks, Blue. No, just to echo Days' sentiment, I don't think there was a point where Selfless really had the driver's seat at all. There was no real, hey, we have this, and we're going to try to run them back with it.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a correct assessment of how it played out. Even, that game could have ended so much earlier as well. Even if you go back to the pistol round, where Liquid make the correct read, but just aren't unable to connect with their shots. And, if Liquid come away with the pistol round as well, then we're probably looking at a bit of more of a stomp than what we already saw.
Right, I mean, that Selfless CT pistol boost was obviously just a little bit unorthodox, if you will. Yeah,
the first time unorthodox, and it does have some merits to it, but obviously it's a big risk coming out from them. But I feel like if you're the underdog, you kind of have to play for, or play that kind of way.
Just to keep it centric around middle, we're going to load up a demo now, kind of look at the mid-round woes here that we were able to kind of capture back there. And you know what? Take it away.
Yeah, and this is after, obviously, Liquid managed to lose the second round and Selfless managed to get back onto the weapons, but you can see they've forced up. And one of the issues here, and this is something we saw in CLG versus Misfits as well, they give up mid-control very, very easily. So you can see how much room Liquid has to play around with here. And they've forced up. Selfless probably expecting just something like a Tech 9 buy, that kind of thing to come out. But still, they're giving it way too much map control to the point where Liquid are just feasting on this kind of an opportunity. Nifty as well, doing some awkward bit of jumps that actually allows him to get picked up by Leech. But the big thing is that Stanislaw is able to get into connector completely unspotted, and that messes up the entire rotation for Selfless. And the entire Selfless team and the defense on that A-bomb site is just completely out of order. They don't have anyone to back them up. They don't have the opportunity to set crossfires because they're just getting attacked from so many different angles once that A hit comes in. And that's one of the big swing rounds that, you know, again, you can't afford to lose if you're Selfless and you want to try to bring it to a team like Team Liquid. They do actually manage to bring back the next round, the following round here, but after that, we see the 9-round streak coming out from Liquid.
No, and very simply put, we knew going into this one that Liquid was going to be that more dominant team.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any doubt here. And, you know, rightfully so with the two rosters we have in front of us, it would make perfect sense.
Exactly, and what's so cool as well is that we kind of it would have been fair to expect Liquid to basically just do cookie cutter stuff and get away with that to a point where they're still going to win the game without having shown anything or done anything out of the ordinary. But I think it was round 9, which we have a clip of actually. That we're going to roll in a minute. And here you can see Stanislaw and him setting up for 2 smokes outside from the useless room, really, to set up for a completely different A execute than I've seen before. And normally you'd see the smokes basically that you have to run through or that you could set up for Molotovs, etc. But this just carves a pathway for them around Forklift in towards the site without them having any sort of disrupted vision the entire time. So completely new way of taking the A bomb site, and it was just super effective and really fun to see, and not something I would have expected to see out of Liquid, given how they're under new leadership in that sense.
Well, even a new sense of leadership, right? Look at the situation they're in right here. They're up 6-2 against Selfless.
Yeah.
Now, when you bust out a strategy like that, I would
have expected it to be like you're up 6-2 and you're playing against SK at some sort of like
you need to bring out, you know, some stop here to get some more momentum, get some more
like
money
this
built.
is where you break kind of deal. But you know, even if it might not have been necessary in that sense, it's just really cool to see innovation still happening on a map that's been played to extreme amounts in CS:GO. Even though Cache is a new map in CS:GO, if you try to compare it to other maps in the map pool, it's still, you know, one of the more played ones. So the fact that you still see teams innovating and actually coming up with new stuff is really, really fun. And that's the kind of thing that warms my heart.
It's kind of uplifting. And for you as a Euro to say the NACS warms your heart, my God.
Yeah, it takes a bit, but that was a fun game to watch from my end at least.
Well, guess what, Vendetta? We got one more coming back, when we come back from this break, we've got Cobble left here in tonight's matchups, the last of the 4 of the night. And when we come back, we're going to see if Nitro and Elige can drive this bad boy home. We'll be right back after this.